Missoula is a town that I love. It isn't home, but it's close enough. When I was a kid in high school, I knew I wanted to go to an out-of-school college. I didn't want to go to U of O or Oregon State. That would be boring. Simply put, I just wanted to get out of my comfort zone and explore something new. That's when I found Missoula. It's really hard to put into words the feeling of Missoula. It has the same culture as the rest of Montana, but it's elevated in all the ways that matter. Missoula is home to endless mountains, real cowboys, talented artists, clear river water, and an infamously big sky. The fresh air makes you want to get outside and explore, but the charming downtown makes you want to grab a drink with the locals. The city of Missoula was founded in 1860, though the native peoples lived here for over 12 centuries before that. The town was created as a mining and trading outpost and steadily grew from there. The mighty Clark Fork River flows through the middle of downtown, the very same river that the Lewis and Clark expedition traveled across on their way to the Pacific. Missoula is relatively isolated, much like most of the other towns in Montana. The largest city in the state is Billings at 100,000 people, and every other town is significantly smaller. In my opinion, there are only about 6 cities worth visiting in the entire state. All the rest are small, old mining communities filled with hardy citizens that have the worst political takes imaginable. So we've been driving on this backcountry Montana road, which might have been a mistake, because there are these 2 carts in front of us with American flag and Montana flags on the back, and I have a fucking Oregon license plate, and I'm a little bit scared for my life, just a smidge. Recording this is the last will and testament, and just to include in this video, Abby's recording. Say hi, Abby. Montana is the 4th largest state in the US, and you can feel it. It's about a 3-hour drive to most nearby towns and trails, 2 if you're lucky. But if you manage to get outside the city limits, you'll be greeted by some of the most breathtaking views you've ever seen. Holland Lake, Trapper Peak, Sagebrush Flats, and Patty Canyon are just a few of the trails Montana has to offer. It's never crowded, and the weather is always a toss-up, but you'll never regret the drive, no matter how far it is. I'm sure there are plenty more amazing views that I don't know about, but I'm sure the locals are keeping it secret for a reason. I don't blame them. I wish I could see more and explore more. This town and state have given me so much these past 3 years, and I can't believe I'm finally saying goodbye. As a humble out-of-stater, I came here to grow in a new, beautiful environment and learn more about myself. I did exactly that. I'd never caught a fish before, shot at a gun range, or gone cross-country skiing, but I did it. The Montana way of life is one of adventure and exploration, and I tried to take advantage of that as much as possible. The state's climate is something I never really got used to. As a guy who grew up in the Willamette Valley, when it snowed, it was an event. It happened maybe 2 times a year tops. In Missoula, however, the snow would start in November and it wouldn't leave until March. You'd think it would snow every day, but in reality, it would snow about once a week. It just would never melt. The temperature would stay below freezing for weeks at a time, so the ice on the ground would never go anywhere. Stepping outside and being greeted by negative 20-degree weather was a complete shock to the system, to say the least. It's nice that it never rained 24/7 like it does in Oregon, but the weather was just as temperamental, going from snow to sun to rain in the span of one day. The people of this town are hardy and used to all conditions. It was inspiring to see. My favorite part of Missoula is the whole reason I moved here in the first place, the university. I loved every minute I spent on this campus. That's a complete lie. A lot of the time I was miserable, but is it really a college experience if you don't look back at it with rose-colored glasses? The campus is where I fell in love with this town. The Arboretum, the Native American Center, and the Oval are all some of my favorite places in town, and where I did most of my homework. I taught myself how to get in shape at the campus rec center, something I'm still active in today. I also got to spend a lot of time in the football stadium as a member of the marching band, a privilege I never took for granted. There was always something happening on campus, and I regret not taking advantage of it more. The main reason why I didn't is because I spent most of my college days living in the dorms. I would say I have a lot of great memories in the dorms, but I really don't. The facilities were always falling apart, my thermostat was broken, and the food was abysmal. The other residents constantly created a hostile environment that just made it impossible to fully unwind in. As a student, I felt neglected And later, as an RA, I felt overworked. Being a resident assistant was one of the worst jobs I have ever had. I made a lot of memories, but most of them were bad memories. The sleepless nights, the inability to leave campus, creating events no one would show up to, and working with some of the worst websites known to man really broke my spirit after a while. Through being an RA is where I made most of my closest friends, though. Moving to a state and not really knowing anyone was hard, and I was lonely most of the time I lived there, but these friends that I made throughout kept me sane, and for that I will be forever grateful.
He didn't do it as deranged, but it's still pretty good. You can kill yourself.
Good man. It was an absolute honor to go through the trials and tribulations of a bachelor's degree together, and it's really hard to say goodbye. I'm sure we'll stay in touch for the rest of our lives, but it's sad knowing it might be years before we see each other again. Missoula also gave me the opportunity to do something I was unable to do in Oregon. Be a complete dumbass with little to no consequences. Coming from Monmouth, a small town where everyone knows each other, it's hard to be someone other than the annoying high schooler everyone remembers me as. In Montana, I could be whoever I wanted to be, and that feeling was liberating. I tried to reinvent myself a lot in different ways, some more successful than others. I got to be a thespian, stoner, RA, outdoorsman, tutor, musician, and eventually educator. Seeing so many parts of town was amazing, and I feel so lucky to have been a part of it. Of course, I can't talk about college without talking about partying. I'm not a super extroverted person, so I never really got invited to parties, but I was still able to get up to plenty of trouble. The bar scene downtown is absolutely incredible, and once I turned 21, I spent most weekends bar hopping with friends. I also smoked weed on like every square inch of town. Like most recently 21 people, I had a lot of fun doing this stuff. Struggled with self-control for a while, but emerged out the other side with a more mature outlook on it all. I had some legendary nights. Some I regret, some I don't. But all the experiences shaped the way I look at socializing as an adult today. I've loved my time here, and I've thought a lot about staying here permanently, but as much as I love Missoula, I don't think I could ever call it home. I'm just too far away from the land I love in Oregon and the amazing support system I have waiting for me there. Native Montanans are very hostile towards outsiders, and it's for good reason. A lot of the appeal of Montana is the untouched wilderness and the lack of people to ruin it. Out-of-staters like me bring a lot of unwanted attention to America's best kept secret. I may come back here another time, but at the end of the day, I'm a 6th generation Oregonian. I need to get back home. So now, I close this chapter on my life. It's sad to know that my college days are over, but I sleep well at night knowing I did the most I could with the brief time that I spent here. So what's next for me? I'm not particularly sure. Today's political climate can make it really hard for a guy in his early 20s to find a stable job, so at the moment, I'm trying to play things by ear. All I know is, I'm not done exploring this world of ours just yet. So, for now, thank you, Montana. Thank you for everything.